Hello guys and welcome back to AI Cave. Today will be our first podcast and my brother Ilya is joining me. Ilya, say hi.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, guys, please let me know in chat how's our audio quality. And the main subject of today's podcast will be, hey Thomas, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Today, main subject will be Far Cry 5. We're gonna look at the trailers, we're gonna watch some gameplay and stuff like that, and hopefully you and I, Ilya, will have a conversation about. Guys, you have more than welcome to, ask any questions and give us your ideas. And guys, let's keep chat civilized. I will ban people easy. Anyway, so let's take a look at the trailer and we will go from there.
Yeah,
you ready?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
I was chosen by God. I have apostles. I help the blind to see. I save souls. But unlike the chosen one sent before, God will never let you take me.
This world is
So obviously Far Cry 5 is in
Don't you
Montana.
understand what we're trying to build?
I think it's in Colorado.
Collapse.
No, it's in Montana.
We will
So
take what we need.
kind of
We will
familiar
take
with
it,
these
willingly
areas
or not.
from Idaho.
Begin the reaping!
The cult's stealing our land, kidnapping our friends. This is our home. Your grandfather built this place.
I thought if we could just hang on.
So
Eden's
pretty
Gate
much
would
this
just go away.
the story is gonna be the same as a Far Cry 3. I haven't played Far Cry 4 or Primal, but I did play Far Cry 3, and it was like kind of an isolated, cool thing idea.
If we stick together, cult will never break us.
Hey Novi, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream.
What God gives, no man can take away.
So obviously not very much context like all Ubisoft trailers.
Yeah, but you know, they actually. I'm gonna run. Okay, so I'm gonna run actual different trailer muted. It's a like combination of trailers. Let me put it on and. Okay, this is pretty much collection of all trailers that are available right now, including first one is it's a live action trailer. Okay, guys. So if you have any questions, ask any of your opinions, ask in the chat, and matter of fact, not only about the game, pretty much any questions, and we will try to answer as best as we can. Oh yeah, you're right. It is in Montana. Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, Far Cry is a really beautiful game, and they've always really been beautiful. But I think for me, it'll really just come down to the gameplay and the story as to whether or not I like it. Because Far Cry 3 had a very good antagonist, obviously, and he really kept up the story, I think, in my opinion.
Well, Far Cry 3, as far as I haven't, like I said, I haven't played Far Cry 4 or Far Cry Primal.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed as far as the story goes in a Far Cry 3 because it could be a really promised game, you know, and stuff like that, but for some other reason the story, no, actually story was pretty good. I have to admit, story was pretty good, but like it was a mix between Skyrim and Assassin's Creed. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it is a open world, but at the same times you have that restrictions, I guess. You know, like you can do, but you can do only so much, and like even crafting goes to certain extent.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely not the level of open world that you see in like Skyrim or any of the other Elder Scrolls game. It just doesn't feel that open for some reason. It just feels limiting in a sense.
Well, I don't know. I was hoping they would really they would probably extend some like somehow all the things you can create and stuff like that. Like, I mean, crafting.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like my biggest issue with Far Cry 3. And this kind of I didn't really have much interest in Far Cry 4 or Far Cry 5. And also they have a same story about how this isolated area somewhere in the middle of nowhere or on the island, what was a Far Cry 3, right? It was the islands.
Yeah, it was in the Pacific, I bet. Yeah, sorry if you can hear the cars in the background. There's some cars going off on my end. Apologize if you can hear that when I'm talking.
I'm sure it's not the worst things could happen, but
yeah, I think it's over now. So yeah.
Yeah, and the I don't know. It's just like, is that gonna be like a same idea in Far Cry 5? And is this what obviously it is? It's like, hey, I mean.
Yeah, in Far Cry 3 it was pirates, and now they're going on to like religious extremists.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the beginning is different. Like, I mean, like, the main plot is the same, but at the same time is a I guess at the same time how you get to it, it's a different story, you know. But doesn't seem like a whole lot of difference, you know.
Right. And they've really stuck to their formula. They're not trying anything new, except Primal, of course. But I have played Far Cry 3, and that I really did like that game for the story. And then after moving on to Far Cry 4, it just felt that the characters just weren't there. Like Far Cry 3, Voss, the main antagonist in Far Cry 3, he really held up the story. I can't emphasize enough how important he was to the game. And after like getting rid of him in Far Cry 4, just the antagonist that they had was just like this goth guy with like hippie punk hair. He just wasn't the same. He just didn't hold the story up. So it was weak because of that, I think. So I think for me, if they have a good villain and good characters, that'll be what really holds up the Far Cry 5. And if they don't have those, I think that it'll be a bust. Because, I mean, Far Cry has always had a lot of things to do, and they've always been fun, but I mean, after Far Cry 3, and if they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, eventually it's just going to get to the point where we've seen it all, and you're going to need the story there, I think, to hold it up.
Well, let's take, for example, Assassin's Creed. I mean, for everybody, we like Ilya and I we have like a huge different, like age different. Like, well, not huge. I mean, what, 12, 13 years apart?
Yeah, like 12.
12. And I mean, I remember first Assassin's Creed when it come on Xbox 360, and at the time it was the story, it was a fresh, new, and I remember like it was the same story as with Mass Effect by Microsoft. The games didn't, like, they perform well, but this is what started. Like, original Assassin's Creed on a 360, I don't remember the year exactly it was, and I remember I loved that game. And when Assassin's Creed 2 come out, I think it was the first game that I open all the achievements for it. And I think there's only one game if I remember correctly, but. And after like the main story, the Far Cry 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, when end of the world and rest of the games just didn't have, they kind of lost the, like, I don't know, original concept.
Yeah. They just kind of went away from it.
Yeah, and just I'm afraid, like, I'm started seeing that this what could happen with a Far Cry 5, and it's probably a 6.
Yeah, I can see that, and it's definitely something that happens as you go on through the lifetime of a game series. It happens to just about every game out there, I think. And Primal, I think, was a very, it was like a really extreme case of that, because they completely changed it, right? But seeing them trying to go back at least, to what the original Far Cries were about, like Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3, to some extent the first Far Cry, I think that shows that Far Cry Primal was pretty unsuccessful, and they themselves knew it. So,
well, and also, like you mentioned early, the character main. Well, actually, he wasn't the main antagonist. He was.
He wasn't. That was interesting too, because originally Voss wasn't even a planned character, but then they had a guy audition for the part of the main villain, and he did such a good performance that they just added him to the game. That's what happened. And so he wasn't the main villain, because he got killed halfway through. And you can see it as soon as he gets killed off in Far Cry 3, which is about halfway or maybe like 3/4 of the way into the game. The game story just goes downhill from there, because there's like no reason to fight the other antagonist that they put in place. He's never been the main antagonist, and so the last quarter of the game just falls flat.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, I think this is what could be probably kind of a start. It was adding him is not as a main, as one of the main characters, instead of just creating. I think it would be a lot better if they would. Actually, you can see right now I think it's a Voss head.
Yeah, that's a Voss bobblehead.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think what they should done, completely redo the story of a Far Cry 3, and didn't kill kill the character,
Yeah, so leave him to be the last main villain, right?
No. You would kill him, like, you would get, like, you take him out the story. Like you wouldn't. Like actually no, you know, I wouldn't make him a main antagonist, but I wouldn't kill him either. I would him like somehow I would in the story I would make that he would like survive somehow miraculously.
Oh, okay, okay, I gotcha.
And bringing him, you know, this is what probably could help the Far Cry 4. You know, instead of killing the boss in a like completely killing him in Far Cry 3, they would save him somehow. I don't know, he survives somehow, and put him as a main antagonist in a Far Cry 4. And
yeah, and I think a lot of people would like that if that happened.
Or even Far Cry 6. I'm sure it's too late for Far Cry 5. You know.
Right.
I don't know. It's just the whole bringing him in as a main character was a great idea, but.
Yeah, and I mean, it would kind of be hard to like create like validation for why he would be in Far Cry 4 or Far Cry 6. But I think if they could somehow find an equally strong protagonist, I don't know how. They don't have to be exactly like Voss, just a very strong antagonist. Someone that, you know, the player can like hate or dislike or like battle against.
Yeah, the Voss character was like he really did get you to the emotional level. It's just like, you know, I just hate him.
This guy's a psycho, right?
Yeah, I mean, Alexander, what's up? How are you doing?
I just didn't feel that with I didn't feel that with Far Cry 4. I just didn't get that. I'm like, this little punk guy with pink hair. I think he had pink hair.
Yeah, something like half pink, half white. I don't even.
Yeah. It's like, why? He's not scary. He just seems like this like overprivileged, you know, rebellious kid. Like, I just didn't get it.
Yeah, and you know, even if they even have a character as strong as a boss or same type like psychopath, what would be really nice, you know, take for example Mass Effect series, the original, not the Andromeda disaster. I mean, that was a disaster. In the second Mass Effect 2, it was what's his name? When they give you a choice being a bad or good person, and you know, it was like some sort of a owner of some company who helped. I don't remember. I really didn't like get ready for that type of conversation because, you know, I didn't think the conversation gonna go there. But anyway, they just in Mass Effect 2 they added an extra character who would be simply annoying, and you have that feeling that also he's literally manipulating you to your decision, because they give you that that option to make decision and affect how game story gonna go, and they added this character that actually gives you that feeling that you've been manipulated to make your choices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just that could save game 2, I think. But as far as I know, it's not really like the Far Cry 3 doesn't have those choices.
It's not really a choice, but if you do look at the like the in-depth storytelling of Far Cry 3, as the game progresses, there is just increasing parallels between the main character that you play, Jason Brody, and Voss, because they just get closer and closer together. And in the end of the game, that's the final choice, is whether you turn into Voss, or whether you stay as Jason Brody, essentially.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you don't have this ability to make choices during the games that can affect.
Right. It's just basically at the very end of the game you get like one choice, and Far Cry has never really been about the choices. And Far Cry 4 tried to sort of go the Mass Effect way of like role playing and storytelling, you know, combined, and it was pretty unsuccessful at doing that. Just like two different decisions at certain parts of the story, you know. And eventually, if I remember correctly, they just ended up having basically the same outcome. It's like the worst illusion of choice ever in Far Cry 4.
I don't know. It's just like I'm watching the trailer right now, obviously, and I don't know. It doesn't just idea behind the story, like on Far Cry 5. If you kind of looking at gameplay, it's a little bit raw. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really like. You pretty much like, you know, in a little ball, and entire story it's inside this ball. And it was another like problem with the Far Cry 3. I remember it wasn't like kind of an outside content, not like in the game, but just let's say Mass Effect 3, right? Or any Mass Effect besides Andromeda. Even Andromeda, if you take Mass Effect Andromeda, you have a main story, you have a, you know, the side story, side quest, but you also have an extra stuff, extra footage, and you know, like even when you I remember the Mass Effect 1, when you are riding the elevator up and down, you have this news guy who, you know, you have a news live who telling you what's going on around the galaxy. She looks like a Kaylee Coco, or just me?
I don't know who that is.
The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but anyhow, and this is what's kind of made the Mass Effect at the first, when it's come out, was so different, because they brought this content that outside the gameplay, even gameplay, but make games so live that, hey, some stuff going on other galaxies, and you know, and not in other galaxies, in other systems, something happens there. It not even relevant. Some of them stuff wasn't even relevant to the gameplay or anything, or even main story, side story, any quests. Some of them was, some of them wasn't, but it did make feelings that actually it's more to the games than it actually was.
Right. Yeah, it does really. Far Cry's have always really felt like isolated. Like, it kind of felt like the Far Cry's have always really been so far-fetched that they kind of never really go outside like their like little sphere, as you called it,
yeah,
of storytelling. So you don't know what's going on in other places outside of Montana or whatever, outside of the islands in Far Cry 3.
And this is, I think, that is the main problems that is getting more obvious and obvious with every Far Cry games. That, well, okay, Far Cry Prime, I understand, because, you know, you don't really have a. I mean, it's what, Stone Age, and you know.
Yeah, that's a little more believable, right?
Yeah, there I can believe, because actually back in the as far as I remember history, as far as, you know, the people didn't go really far at that time during the Stone Age, you know, from the camp, and if they interacted was like, I can believe actually that time, the Stone Age, maybe like the Far Cry story generally would fit perfectly, like the whole logic behind it. But I mean, come on, Far Cry 3, okay, islands, yeah, maybe you don't have a communication with outside world. I even can stretch to that point. But what I cannot stretch, like, I don't understand how they're gonna explain there's no any outside communication with
with Montana, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, China maybe not. Wasn't China? It was China. I mean,
it was somewhere in Asia.
Yeah. Hey Barita, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. We're doing something different today. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, but I mean, okay, and maybe for, I mean, they still have a lot of communications there. Some, you know, some countries, but Montana,
Right.
middle of United States.
Yeah, it is a little bit far-fetched. And you know, it's really clear where they're going with like these religious activists. They're clearly like paralleling organizations like, you know, Westboro Baptist Church, groups like that. But still, how do you go so far to explain like planes with machine guns on them, or you know, like flamethrowers, rocket launchers?
Yeah, I mean, like, do you really want to tell me that almost most of the world currently is under? I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory, guys. It's not conspiracy theory. It just like saying, well, stating you have a satellite, you have a entire United States is secure by anti-rocket systems, and we have a Air Force flank all around the country, making sure, you know, stuff didn't happen. But do you really think nobody would spot it from our government a flying 1940 model of an airplane mounted with a light machine gun from Apache? Like,
yeah, right.
I mean,
And I don't know, maybe if you, I know that a lot of the people on this channel are from outside of the United States, so maybe this really does play on the stereotypes of like, you know, like southern Canada and northern United States. But I mean, like my brother and I have clearly like been in that area of the country, so maybe we're just totally, you know, exposed to like what's really going on there, and so we can't really like understand the story entirely.
Well, and another thing, like, I just try to remember, like, it's just logically is, I don't know. I understand, even like if they would take this story and let's say put. When was the pilgrimage from East Coast to towards the West Coast, sort of this?
1850s?
Yeah.
1830s?
Now, if they would put that story in this time range, and let's say in matter of fact, put in Montana, put it in that area, and let's say
that could work.
Do some Lewis and Clark story, you know, two people crossing, you know, United States to find, and they get to that settlement that they have to survive, you know.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. That could work. It could be kind of like this whole like Red Dead Redemption like thing, where it's kind of Western but kind of not at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I understand you will lose that cool machine guns, airplanes, but you can add it a lot more. Especially you have a base, all the archery and everything, like sword fights already from Primal, you know, and it would be make more common sense. You know, go to 17th, 18th century, somewhere there after Primals, and just, you know, that Far Cry Prime doesn't fit anywhere now.
Yeah, that would have been like the logical place to go now that I think about it. It's the middle ground between Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, like the modern, and the sort of like ancient Far Cry Primal. It's just sort of right there in, well, not like chronologically, but like it just seems like a good place to go for the story, and it would make sense.
Yeah, I mean,
And you could tell this sort of far-fetched story, you know, that isn't necessarily too out there, that could still be believable if it was set in like the 1850s, 1830s, whatever.
and let's and another thing, they do have a based game on that time. It's was oh, Assassin's Creed 4, I believe. This is where you went to the Western Vault, and it was Assassin's Creed 4, right?
Assassin's Creed 4 was Black Flag, wasn't it?
No,
I think that was a carry.
No,
Assassin's Creed 3 was the U.S. Revolution.
Okay, so Assassin's Creed, yeah, U.S. Revolution. So technically, you use that idea to connect the games in Assassin's Creed, but you completely like it doesn't make sense. And I have a feeling Ubisoft becoming more toward now that is scary. That is truly scary. I had this feeling in the past couple years, but so far Ubisoft been on that balance. They're not really crossing the edge, but they getting so closer and closer to where EA started at their time with with Electronic Arts started at little BS, like let's push the new games, let's push the games, let's kill the studios that can be, cannot do the job. And this is where I started having feeling probably a year or two ago, this is where Ubisoft going slowly. I mean, Electronic Arts story, it's a different broadcast story, the what disaster that is, you know?
Yeah, and I can definitely see Ubisoft going there too. With their recent releases.
And I actually don't... Oh, hey, let's play simulator. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to a stream. And I think that's gonna be the big issue. With the Far Cry 5,
yeah.
I bet you right now, guys, they will have some microtransactions. They just...
Yeah, I mean, look at games like Rainbow Six Siege, and how they're just pushing the micropayment systems in that game.
Yeah.
And just the latest Assassin's Creeds and everything. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not as bad as. By the way, guys, don't forget to, if you have any question, make sure you ask in the chat. We will try to do our best to answer.
Yeah, let us know if you've been playing any of the Far Cries and what you think about their story or their side mechanics, like crafting and stuff. Let us know.
And also, guys, if you want to see, if you want to talk about other different games, let us know. I'm sure you can get the trailers and stuff like that. So yeah, but back to the whole microtransaction. Okay, bye Burrito. Hope you have a nice night. By the way, she's from Iceland. She watches a lot of my streams. Hey, let's play simulator. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to a cave. And yeah, and actually, speak of the things. Now that I'm thinking, guys, sorry, it's our first podcast, so I'm not prepared as I should be probably, since I never did one before. But Metal Gear Survival. Do you hear about that disaster?
I have not, no, but I mean, I've seen the YouTube video thumbnails from like Angry Joe and stuff.
The funny things, I don't think it's apparently, yeah. Can you send me a link so I can actually point it out? But apparently, gosh, I don't remember. It was a Boogie or it was an Angry Joe. One of them.
You want me to do Angry Joe's video?
Yeah, send me. Apparently, one of them one of the videos. Guys, sorry about the all clicking. Like I said, guys, it's our first podcast, so don't judge us too hard. But it was like you have to pay for saving space or something like that.
You have to pay to save the game?
Oh yeah, something like that. I'm gonna try to find out. Maybe it was a boogie. But yeah, the way I understand, and I'm not buying that, buying this game. I mean, if you have to pay for save spots, you know. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is a boogie. Let me bring this really fast.
What's up?
We're gonna just watch the live video. Yes, that is a Boogie's video. Okay, guys. Okay, let me do it a little bit different. Okay. I hope since it's not, this video is not monetized, guys. We will. Okay, I hope Boogie is not going to be too mad at us. I really hope, Boogie. But you was saying, now, I'm not kidding, that when I find out that, I was like, oh my god. Okay. Okay, guys, just give me a minute. Okay, here we go. This video from Boogie 298 YouTube channel, and so here now.
298 coming at you live as we get to the power of the internet. And I'm doing my gaming news video extra early this week because I wanted to talk about one thing and one thing only, and that is Metal Gear Survive and why you probably shouldn't play it. Now, I have to start this story off by saying I'm not a huge Metal Gear Solid fan. The reason being is because for the earlier games when stealth is actually important, I don't like stealth games, so you don't catch me playing games like Hitman or Thief or anything like that either. I did like the latest game because it was a fun physics sandbox, and Donkey gave me a good reason to want to play it, just because it seems silly to run around and goof around in. That's what I was hoping Metal Gear Survive was going to be. I guess that's not going to be the case. So as you can tell by the Metacritic scores, even the critics, 24 critics gave it a total of 64. The user score is at about a 1.7. And this is one of those games where you have to be careful of the user score because people who are big fans of Kojima are obviously going to despise this game even existing. And if you're unfamiliar with the story, Kojima, of course, is the guy who, Kojima Productions and Kojima is the people who made the Metal Gear Solid games. He was part of Konami. He eventually left Konami on bad terms. Konami decided to continue to make Metal Gear games. And people who are fans of the series or fans of Kojima are going to despise this game right out of the gate. So there's going to be plenty of people who will never play this game or are going to give it a bad user score. Critics aren't supposed to do that, though, so I think a 64 Metascore is probably fairly close to what this game deserves. Now, while I have yet to bother purchasing it myself, I probably will right after filming this to stream it on stream tonight. I've seen this game get played quite a bit, and I have to say, it looks tedious and boring and awful because it takes all of the just terrible things about the whole survival element and makes it just tedious and boring and awful. And you've got to drink and you've got to eat and you've got to sleep and you've got to do everything that you're supposed to do in one of these survival games, but without all of the fun being there. And then you add in zombies on top of that, which is so 2013. And then it's just not a particularly fun concept or fresh idea. And if you look at people like Donkey's video, they clearly illustrate that the whole sandbox aspect of the last Metal Gear game is just not there. Had they managed to keep that, had it been all the fun, weird, stupid stuff that you could do with the physics engine and all the unique items and stuff that Snake was using, that would be great. Some of that stuff is there.
Oh, okay, so here's what it is.
And the best way to play the game
you get
is
one
super
save
cautious
slot
and
for
super
free.
Careful and super silly because it is a survival
and then you have
game.
to buy the rest
and
of
overall,
them.
it's just it's just a mess. It looks like just a mess.
That's
but
just
if you
ridiculous.
want one final reason to boycott this game,
Okay,
and I may not even purchase it for streaming for this reason, it's because Angry Joe and other YouTubers quickly pointed out that you get one save slot in this game if you want to buy an additional save slot to create a second character. It's $10 for the microtransactions. Now, sure, the game is only $40 to start. That's something I would expect in a free-to-play game, not a $40 game, not a $10 game, let's be honest. That's not something that I think players are willing to accept. We're not willing to pay for extra save slots in a video game, even if it is server space. Even if it is cloud-based, I don't think we're willing to do that. So I think that alone is enough reason to just skip this game. I do want to point out something suspicious, though. When I logged into Steam, they did recommend this game to me based on its selling very well, but it looked like only 280,000 people played the beta on Steam. I don't know how many people have bought the actual...
Okay, so
yeah, oh, that's just ridiculous. And obviously this is Konami, so this is nothing new from them. Like, they're just known to be just the worst developer.
Game. It looks like there's
worse than
1,000
EA, I think.
you know what? I'm a huge. You probably don't know that, but I'm a huge fan of Ace Combat. You ever?
Yeah.
I love this game. First time I play Ace Combat was on a PC. I was a Pentium 2. I actually at the time I still live in Russia. You wasn't even born yet, I think. So this is, and I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Ace Combat, and I think this game has to do something with economy too. What?
Yeah. Say that again.
What is really scares me, I will be probably somewhere. I will join Angry Joe army if they going to put $10 in a for a safe space on a Ace Combat. I will be officially try to contact Angry Joe and pretty much just take a to join his army, because I would be, really now the whole electronic art disaster with the Star Wars microtransaction wasn't enough, and Konami just like, well, if you think you saw everything, you have seen everything, no, you haven't yet. Here's the,
Yeah, it's like the final up yours thing, right?
The worst part, I don't think it's a final idea.
Yeah, it's probably gonna get worse too, right?
It's like, hey, we're gonna have Grand Theft Auto 6 pretty soon. Let's figure it out what kind of other ridiculous microtransaction we can add it to it.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Will be surprised if in Grand Theft Auto 6 and GTA 6, every time you speed, you will have to actually pay a real money for the tickets. Imagine that. Or you have to buy like some sort of a car insurance in GTA 6. Like, hey, you want to drive car, you have to have insurance.
See, I don't think they'll do that with the single player because Rockstar makes all their money off of GTA Online.
Yeah, but I have a feeling.
And obviously, GTA Online has always just been the biggest money grab ever. They're still making content for it, but if you just now started playing GTA Online, you're gonna be stuck in the longest loop of just grinding in-game money to just unlock everything. It's gonna be rough for you. So you're probably just gonna want to fork up whatever they charge for their shark cards, and just get a little ahead, so you can get up to a point in the game where you can actually start playing with other people again, because others are just so high up there that are just so far through like the GTA Online progression system that you're gonna have a hard time making it through there by yourself, if that makes any sense.
Well, you know, let's don't go too far from it. Let's take a look at Destiny and Destiny 2. Destiny 1 wasn't a great idea. I remember when I watched at the time Xbox 360 is right the same year they announced. I don't remember. It was the E3. I don't remember which year. The same year the Call of Duty Ghost come out.
And that was probably like 2012.
Yeah, Xbox One come out too at the same year, I remember. And I was watching Destiny, the E3, Destiny, first Destiny, the trailer reveal, you know, when the guy, little guy, it wasn't even a gameplay, it was just a little guy, you know, putting the hands, and I was so excited. Oh my god, amazing story, everything. And it was about and I remember West, right?
Yeah.
At the time, we was playing a lot together. We was playing Call of Duty, of course, and of course, Destiny was released in September, and a new Call of Duty was released usually in November. And West called me, "Hey, dude, you should try this Destiny game because I'm done with Call of Duty." You know, it was September. I don't even gonna buy a new Call of Duty this year. Destiny is, is everything. Let's play Destiny. Guess what? We got bored. It was like probably like a month before even new Call of Duty was released this year. We got bored with Destiny because it was the same grinding. The huge promise of big story with the space battles. I mean, a lot of people pointing out on the disappointment of gosh, what's this game called? Oh, I'm trying to think about. It was I have somewhere on a Steam, guys. I'm gonna pull Steam really fast. Okay. I know I have in library somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean for the first
No Man's Skies. No Man's Skies.
Oh, okay. Right.
That is a disaster. And
yeah.
They promise us so much.
And I think it just might be that the medium of gaming is just so far along that, you know, we've seen everything. Kind of like movies, you know, like if you go to movies nowadays, there's like the same, like, you know, cliche scene, you know, the action sequence, you know, the explosion. And so you're like can you imagine if you were like the first person ever to watch a movie with like, you know, a big like explosion action scene, right? Guy jumping through a window. You probably would have came out of that movie theater, you probably would have been like, oh man, that was like the coolest thing ever, right? But now that you've seen it 100 times, you're like, oh, okay, well this is lame. So that's probably what is happening to gaming right now. Is just that we've already seen so much of this first-person shooter, you know, Call of Duties, Halos. Everyone's just so used to it that you can't really like impress us anymore. So I think what we really need is just a big change, or just something new, something we haven't seen before.
Well, just the Destiny pointed out pretty obvious when they released that Osiris DLC. I was just like, yeah, we run out of content.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't, to be honest, nobody like officially announced, but I guess Black Ops 4 coming out this year. And 3 Arch always was solid for basic Call of Duty multiplayer game, you know.
Yeah, and their zombies is always good too.
Yeah.
Or it used to be. And I don't know how it is now.
I can, like, you know, because Joseph, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to our cave. You know, and just I think I'm gonna. I think I hate to say it because, you know. By the way, for people who new to the stream, excuse me, and who will watch this video later, I met my wife playing Call of Duty. I was MW2 at the time, so Call of Duty always will be special for me no matter what, you know. And I think I will probably purchase the, and I think it's gonna be, I hate to say it, but I think it's gonna be my last Call of Duty I will purchase. If, you know, if maybe Ashley will stream gaming live Call of Duty, then we probably both ended up buying Call of Duty, so, you know, just for stream purchases. But I think Call of Duty 4 gonna be my last one as far as you know, as a gameplay, story, multiplayer goes. I don't know, just so many disappointments last year in the gaming industry. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, we start.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We start with Mass Effect Andromeda, and after that was a shit show entire year.
Yeah, but you know, E3 is just around the corner for this year, and there are some pretty interesting things to keep an eye out for. You have the new game from CD Projekt Red, which is supposedly to be announced at E3. You have the newest Bethesda project, which is also rumored to be announced, but you know, I don't know how much faith I have in them after Fallout 4. And obviously Red Dead Redemption. I'm interested in that, and hopefully that'll end up being good.
Well, currently, actually, my hopes is for Sea of the Thieves. That is the one game I'm looking forward.
Right, it's in early access right now, right?
I don't think so. Like, it's not...
because I know I've seen some first-person shooter YouTubers play it, like Jack Frags.
Yeah, but I mean, they probably has an early access copy, but it's actually released through I don't think it's going to be released through Steam. It's going to, because it's a Microsoft game, and it's going to be for Xbox One and Windows 10 directly. So it's going to be probably through the store. But you know, I like this type of games. Like, this is my kind of a type of games that I'm really looking forward, and I have this feeling, like, I'm not even a feeling, because I do have I still have a hope for this game, but it's just, I'm afraid to get so disappointment of lack of content, and I'm afraid it's just gonna be another game that just, you have, you know, 5 hours of story gameplay, and you just going back to basic grinding.
Yeah. I don't really. That's something that's really hard to avoid, especially that's something that's really hard to you know, improve upon, because you had like the was it the first Modern Warfare, you know, that added all the upgrades to the weapons. Is that the first?
Yeah.
Was that
No, yeah, I think so. It was also the first ones they have it, like airstrike and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the kill streaks, and obviously that was just so new at the time that people really got into it, and now we've just seen it so much that we're just tired of it. So I don't know. It's a really difficult problem, I think, and especially with the you know, the crap that the publishers are pulling. Like Konami, EA, Ubisoft, just how their time constraints and how you have to get the next release out, you know, next year. That just makes it really tough on developers. And obviously developers want to do the best job that they can, but obviously they're under time pressure, so...
Well, I'm like... even most of my channel is about farming simulator at this point, right? And I hope you and we will change that, and we're gonna bring more games. By the way, guys, we're trying to bring more gameplay and different games and different content, but at this point it's still most of a farming simulator. And it was I know you don't know a whole lot about this game, but
No.
couple months ago they had a release. In Farming Simulator, the game is based on the mods. That's why it's so popular in sort of, in sort of a group of people. But the DLC is expensive. Especially the Farming Simulator is not AAA game. Everybody knows that. But if you want it on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, you will pay a full AAA price. Plus, they don't have all the mods available on consoles that I can download for PC. And the latest things happens. I mean, by the way, guys, new DLC Europa coming out pretty soon, next Tuesday. But they had like some company, Astra Games, I think it was Astra Games. They released a non-official DLC, a Crown DLC, Crown Bale DLC for the Farming Simulator. I have seen better mods, and they charge like $39 for that. I mean, we getting to the point, even the most like unpopular games start getting to the point when they're gonna charge, overcharge you for pretty much nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously developing games is getting harder because you got better graphics. You obviously need to, have new gameplay if you're you better have a good story. And obviously that takes a lot of money, but man, I don't know if it's worth the microtransactions, because those end up just hurting the game in the long run.
I think on the end of the day, no matter what you can introduce, like zombies was 2013, like Boogie said, so 2013, and it was surviving, like games, and now it's a battle royale, new type of gameplay.
Yeah.
On the end of the day, I think the main single player story is most important.
Yeah, I would agree. Because in multiplayer you always just have these communities of people that can always, entertain each other.
Yeah.
But in single player, it's pretty much just up to the developers to see what they can come up with to impress the player.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people think, well, I don't play, single player. Let's say me, for example. I don't like some of them. Call of Duty, I never even touched a single player, but let's say it's the same Black Ops, I beat all them single players, just because of the story. And I think a lot of people, a lot of developers, not as much as the developers, a lot of publishers saying, well, currently gaming, the single...
They're chasing trends.
Yeah,
is what
and
doing.
They try to say that single player currently is not in the trending. Nobody care about single player. The reason why nobody cares about single player because it's haven't been a good single player for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, my friend and I were just talking about this about a week ago. We were trying to find like a good co-op game with story, with a good story, and so we were browsing Steam to look for a game to play with each other, right? Something like Halo, like the original Halos, like Combat Evolved or Halo 2 or Halo 3 that we could play together. There's nothing like that. Everything is just, if you're gonna play co-op, it better be competitive because you're not gonna find anything else. And even if you want to play like a single player game with a good story with a friend, yeah, good luck with that. Especially on Steam.
Well, I'm trying to find the game currently right now for us to play, and you do the streaming and do let's play, and I just simply I cannot find any decent co-op.
Yeah. Eventually the thing that I found was SWAT 4 from like 2007, 2006.
Yeah, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now to play with my friends, like with a game from 2006, because there's nothing good out right now to play co-op on. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, today, in matter of fact, speaking about 2006, Ashley was, you know, of course we have the Xbox, the latest Xbox and stuff like that, and she actually asked me help her to, you know, to put Pina Pinata game, cheesy game from 2006 on her Xbox One to play it. Is what she was been playing today. Because I mean, gosh, are we really coming to that point when we're gonna have to play old games to just enjoy something?
I've already been at that point. Like, honestly, just before December, I was playing the third Elder Scrolls game, Morrowind, and you know, that game back from 2002 is giving me more enjoyment now than any game that has been released in the last 4 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember Morrowind on the Xbox, on the original Xbox. I mean, gosh.
Right. And I mean, what's that saying? If games from the original Xbox are more fun than games that are released now, like, I would go back and play the first Halo game with my friend right now if I could, because there is just nothing good out there.
As a matter of fact, well, if you would have Xbox One, you could, but
yeah.
But the thing, it's just I don't know. It's just where the hell are we coming with that stuff? I mean, where are we gonna end it? I mean, everybody, like, let's say Xbox One X, it's a full 4K resolution supporting and everything. Gosh, I don't care. I have I have my PC that supports I don't know, pretty much any latest game on a ultra high setting is possible, you know. I still playing on a regular 4K 30 FPS, and to be honest, for me it's no any difference. It would be 60 FPS 144 4K resolution or 1080. If it's no any good story behind, it's no point. You know, you're not gonna impress me with the graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole talking about how, you know, how look at these graphic details. I mean, oh my god, this game runs on, you know, on the high settings. I mean, like, okay, cool.
All right, you got the graphics and the facial animations down, but everything that's coming out of their mouth is not believable whatsoever.
Yeah, or you're stuck in the middle of Montana in modern day, and everything feels like it's a freaking 1860 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I think we're gonna be done for today. I know it was our first podcast, so it's gonna be available later on probably by tomorrow. Guys, if you want to watch, there's a live chat available. Let's Play Simulator, are you still here? If not, I think I'm gonna try to invite maybe other YouTubers for some other streams. But guys, let me know please in the comments under this video when it's gonna be fully released. What do you think? Also, go to my community and you know, give me some ideas what else you wanna see in the next podcast. And Ilya, thank you for joining me.
If you guys are looking for a game with a good story, check out my Kingdom Come Deliverance Let's Plays. That game has a beautiful story.
Yeah, speak of the thing. So yeah, I believe it's gonna be the new Kingdom gameplay will be released tomorrow or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
later today. We're not sure. Haven't decided yet. But anyway, guys, everybody, thank you for watching, and for everybody who will watch this later, thank you again. Make sure you hit subscribe button. Make sure you hit like button, and of course, let us know what else you would like to hear us talk about on our podcast. Anyway, everybody, goodbye and have a great weekend.
Bye.